Shannon.
And I'm Kim.
And you are listening to From Ring to Veil,
a wedding planning podcast,
where we share tips and information to help you plan the wedding of your dreams.
Without all the stress.
Things that couples wish they would have done. Episode number 86.
We thought it would be wise to find out what real couples who've just been married or recently been married are saying that they wish that they had known or had done during the wedding planning process.
So we did some research and found some really good advice, and we're going to share it.
Hopefully you'll learn from their mistakes. All right, we've got a good list here for you. Get a pen and paper or print this out.
Yes.
Make sure you can tick through all these.
So the first one is, I didn't have one and I didn't really want one, but a videographer.
Right. It seems like a lot of people are saying that. Yeah. That was almost the number one thing.
Wedding videos from way back when and wedding videos now are totally different.
Right.
Like you watch a wedding video now and it's like a movie.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
It has music in the background.
It's very cinematic.
It's all pieced together and edited all nice. And so, I mean, they're kind of neat to have. I mean, I wouldn't want to have just the camera sitting there doesn't look good and everything.
Right.
I don't want that, you know.
They're really artistically done nowadays.
And we know some great videographers in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, so. Absolutely.
If you need a referral, we'll send you some.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing, they are, I wouldn't say 90% of them, but a lot of them are saying they wish they had a day of coordinator. And like we said, it's just only beneficial for you.
Right.
Really, nothing could be bad about it.
Right. I would budget that in because a day of coordinator takes care of everything the day of. Mm-hmm. No one's going to come to you and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Your day
what do we do with this? Yeah. Where do we put that? Where is so-and-so?
So it's not going to stress you out. Mm-hmm. Your day of coordinator is going to take care of all of that. Budget it in your budget. Put it in your budget to get a day of coordinator, at least just a day of coordinator or a planner.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, that's our one main piece of advice. I know you've heard that throughout most of our episodes.
Yes. But, it's really true. And it's not like we are day of coordinators and we're trying to get you to get our business, buy our business. But it's so important. And we've seen this over and over with some of our brides. The ones that have somebody there, they go so much more smooth.
Right. Because this person knows where everything goes, knows what time you need to be there. You have one person to go to if something's wrong. Mm-hmm. So I would, that's our one main piece of advice.
Yeah. You know that now. Mm. Next one. They wish they had spent more money, they wish they had spent more time with their guests, which totally makes sense, right?
Because you're running around all night long. You have all this stuff planned. Mm-hmm. You don't really get time to see everyone, especially if you no longer do receiving lines, which are
we talked about that last time.
And if you have a large wedding, there's no way you're going to get to every guest,
right?
But
spending a little more time, like we talked about the lounge thing last time, where you can spend time with your guests. They can kind of be the new receiving line.
Right.
You sit there and then you chat with somebody and then somebody else comes in and chat. It's just, I don't know what to say. It makes it a more intimate type of affair.
Right. And my one thing is you're not going to eat. You won't have time to eat. You
might get a couple bites here and there.
Yeah. You might get a couple bites here and there, but you're not going to eat that full meal that you paid for.
Yeah. Unless you make it a point to, you're probably going to talk.
I would make the getaway car person. If you have a getaway car, you have to go through the McDonald's because I need something to eat. But
or the Chick-fil-A, whichever.
So spending more time with guests, I can understand that. If you spend more time with guests, you're definitely not going to eat. So.
Right. Well, sometimes you get in there and you start partying and you dance and you dance and you dance, and that's really fun. But then you don't talk to anybody. Mm-hmm. You're just out on the dance floor, which is I totally get that. You're celebrating, you're having fun, you're having a party, but just just spend a little more time with your guests. Make it a point to do so.
The next one is not sweating the details. Like, don't sweat the small stuff, basically. Everything's going to come out okay at the end. You're still going to be married. You know, maybe the flowers aren't the right color, or it doesn't, you know, that doesn't matter. You're still going to be married at the end, so I wouldn't, you know, don't sweat the small stuff.
The big scheme of things, the small stuffs are just small stuff. It really is not a big deal.
Right.
Unless, like, your officiant doesn't show up
that's
or something.
That's not a small stuff.
So don't sweat about those small stuffs. You know, if you forgot your
garter.
Or something. You know, there's always somebody ready to step in and give you something or whatever. So that is one thing that couples wish that they had done is not sweat the small stuff. Oh, this next one's kind of funny. But somebody was saying that she wished somebody would have told her about swollen fingers on the day of. Because I guess the night before stuff went on, she ate something, but the next day she had swollen fingers. So it was hard to get the rings on, which is understandable.
Right.
Sometimes if you're overly anxious and stuff, your body does things to you. You just don't think about that sometimes your fingers are swollen. So, I mean,
yikes.
There you go. Just be aware that your fingers
get the ring on halfway.
Just think of that. You know, just keep that in mind.
All right. The next one is probably is going to be the bane of your existence during wedding planning. RSVPs. Because you're going to have people that come that didn't RSVP. You're going to have people that didn't show up that did RSVP.
Right.
And
life happens, first of all.
Right. I mean, if it's an emergency, yes. But, I mean, it's really... I mean, you paid for a certain amount of meals, and then you have either over or under, so you have, you know, not enough meals, or... So, it's...
I think there's really nothing you can do about it.
No.
Except ask very politely.
And keep calling, emailing. You coming? I would keep doing that over and over and over. I would just have an email. Are you coming to my wedding? Yes or no? Are you coming to my wedding? Yes or no?
If you can't, I'm sorry, but great. But, you know,
every week.
Let me know.
Every week, and then every day.
And then make sure you tap your planner. Call them. Next one, that our couples were saying that they wished they had realized while the wedding planning was going on that sleep is a luxury. It's not a privilege. Because you will lose sleep.
And you're going to not sleep well the night before anyway. And so
most likely.
I would not go out and party the night before at all.
Maybe we're sensible.
Yeah.
It's a very sensible thing.
Maybe you have a slumber party with your bridesmaids or something that was, you know, and then go to bed at a reasonable hour.
If you have a slumber party, you're not going to bed at a reasonable hour.
You can make each other go to bed.
Just try to be aware. You're going to be super tired.
Yeah.
And even during the wedding planning, you could lose sleep. Because, again, if you're like some of us, where you wake up in the middle of the night thinking of a million things that you had to do and didn't do, and did I do this and did I not do that? There are so many tips and tricks to fixing that. But one of the most common things I hear is keep a notepad by the side of your bed and scribble it down and then go back to sleep. Because you know you've written it down. You can rest better knowing that you'll remember in the morning. But for me, that happens all the time. And I'm not even planning a wedding.
The next one is, you don't need to entertain your guest. You are there to celebrate with each other. You as a couple are celebrating, and you're celebrating with your guests.
Your peoples. Yeah.
So you don't need to entertain them. You don't need to sit there and, you know, tell jokes and entertain them and get them. Your DJ is there for that.
Right, exactly. And in that, I think they're saying that you don't have to have a live band to entertain them. And you don't have to have games. And you don't have to have, you don't have to go all out.
Right.
You're just there to celebrate with each other. And even if you don't even have a music to dance to, if you're not doing a dance thing, it's okay, because you're not there to, they're not there to be entertained. They're there to celebrate with you. Period. End of story.
The next one is, had your hair and makeup done by a pro. Mm-hmm. I would definitely budget that in too.
Absolutely.
You'll look your best.
They know what they're doing.
Right. And you won't have messed up hair at the end. And you're going to be nervous getting eye makeup on, and you're nervous. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I hate putting eye makeup on now anyway. But
yeah.
I would never be able to do that.
On your own. Mm-hmm. Another thing that they wish they had known or did, start the DIY early. Now, we've said this before. If you're going to DIY, do it early.
Yeah, you need to plan out things in intervals along your planning stages. You don't need to do it all the week before.
Right. Because that creates stress like nobody's business. Right. That is just a stress maker.
And if you're doing flowers DIY,
it's hard because you have to have them as fresh as you can, especially...
You get them at least 2 to 3 days before your wedding.
Yeah.
And you need to do them a day and a half before your wedding day. You have to design them. So doing your own DIY flowers is very stressful.
Very.
We're not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
And you really don't come out, in my opinion, which you're going to say, oh, she's a flower designer. She's going to say this. But in my opinion, your DIY flowers are not going to come in any cheaper, really, with your time, your stress, your labor, stressing over the flowers. Maybe some of them are dead. You have to go buy new ones. Mm-hmm. They're not going to come out any cheaper than getting them from a professional.
That's right.
So
I would agree. Well, that's a whole other story. We'll just go to the next one. Delegating. They wish they would have delegated. And like we say, delegate.
You have bridesmaids and maids of honor.
Mothers-in-laws, groomsmen.
You have all these people that are involved in your wedding for a reason.
That they're most likely more than willing to help.
Yes.
So delegate.
Next one is have backups of everything. Music playlists, seating plans, everything.
Yeah, I would even say copies of like marriage license. And I know those aren't legal, but at least to have a copy, all that stuff. Which, just makes sense. It's a backup copy. Something happens. I don't remember what was on my playlist. Oh, look, we have a backup copy. Here you go. I'd say keep it on your cloud drive, wherever that is.
Flash drive, something.
Next one, getting photos with people you love the most. Make sure if your grandma or grandpa or some relatives from overseas, came to your wedding, you might want to take a few more extra pictures with those people because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
Make sure you get everybody in those photos that you want in those photos because it might be the last one.
Mm. Skip the traditions that you do not care about. We've had this discussion before. Mm-hmm. You don't need to have a bouquet toss. You don't need to have a garter toss.
You don't even have to have flower petals dropped by a flower girl if you don't care about it.
Yeah. You don't need a first dance, or if you don't want to. Maybe you just want to have a group dance. So, if there's something that's not important to you, drop it. It's not worth stressing over.
That's right. Not worth stressing over. We just talked about this. Eat. You can make it a priority if you really want to eat. Which we suggest at least snack because you're going to be dancing, you're going to be talking.
And I would snack throughout the day as well. If you can't do a full-blown meal throughout the day, I would have snacks brought in.
Yeah. You're going to be on your feet for a lot during that day. It's really a taxing day on your body.
Yes. Because it's long.
It is long. You're standing a lot. You're up and down. You're walking around. You're dancing. It is a taxing day.
The next one is hiring a pro photographer.
A couple pros are on this list, but I think this is number one. I really do. How many times are people disappointed, like heartbroken in their photos?
Right. And if you hire a pro photographer, they will get the shots that you want, for one thing. They will be in focus, hopefully. If it's a pro photographer, they will be in focus. They will be lighted correctly. They will be, they would be your dream photos.
Right.
They will go above and beyond, They'll get down on the ground and take the shot of whatever that they need to. They will get up in a tree and take this.
Some of them, I'll say, will do that. And they'll get shots that you didn't think you wanted. And then when you see them, you just it gives you butterflies all over. You know what I mean? It'll just be like, oh, wow, I can't believe they got that. I'm so glad. You will be much more happier with a pro photographer than you will be with a friend who has a good camera.
Speaking of photographers that go above and beyond, our friends over at G Squared Weddings have a special for our listeners.
Only for our listeners. If you mention From Ring to Veil, they will give you $750 off of their complete or VIP package. Just for mentioning us.
Right.
How awesome is that? All you have to do is go to www.fromringtoveil.com/G Squared and contact them there and mention From Ring to Veil, and you will get that $750 off.
Awesome. And they are very adventurous.
They are. They will get up in trees, walk through puddles, stand in the lake, hike, whatever you want them to do. They're there to do that. All right. So the next thing, you're going to offend, disagree with, and feel guilty about at least someone during this time. You cannot please everybody.
And you cannot invite everyone and
make everybody happy. Yeah. That's really the gist of this. You can't make everybody happy, and you've got to understand that. And you've got to take that into account when you're planning your wedding. It's your wedding. It's not their wedding. And you're, like it said, you're going to offend somebody. Somebody's going to disagree with, or you're going to make somebody mad.
Right.
It's going to happen.
The next one is being indecisive is a very, very bad thing.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
By the time you go to at least maybe your second meeting with your vendors, you need to have some concrete plans.
Right.
Design plans, anything.
Color choices.
Right. So, make a decision. Don't be indecisive.
Like some people. Splurging on the most important things is something that couples wish that they had done. Splurging on the important things. Now, that would be important to you things.
Yes.
If that wedding dress is the most important thing to you, splurge on that.
Prioritize your budget. Put your top things on the top of that list and then go down from there. Take it easy with the wedding registry. You don't need to put everything on that wedding registry. More than likely, by now, you have stuff. Mm-hmm. If you have a home, you have stuff.
That's true.
And you don't need to go in and get 50 more spatulas.
And the thing is, you prioritize on this too.
Right.
So whatever's most important for you, put that on that registry. If you really want something, that's what should go onto the registry. Not, oh, we might could use that. Mm-hmm. Oh, we might could use that. When you give them an option, give your guests an option of things you want, not things that, whatever, kind of.
And you're going to open it and go, oh, great.
Yeah.
Did I put that on my list?
Yeah, exactly. Instead, you want to open it and be like, oh, yeah, I really needed this. I'm so glad you guys got that.
Have a plan B.
That's right. We talked about this.
Yes. Last week.
Couple shows ago.
Yeah, last week. Week before last. Plan Bs are important, especially if you live in areas with weird weather.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think you can always count on Anywhere, pretty much. Some of our couples said they wish they would have not passed up on the dress they really wanted.
Aw.
Yeah. Yeah. You want this dress?
They said yes to the wrong dress?
Yes.
Aw.
Yes to the wrong dress, and they weren't happy. Because then again, you're not happy on the day of because you don't feel as pretty.
Right.
You don't feel as bridey, or whatever.
You don't feel as confident as you would probably in that dress that you really, really loved.
Right.
But then you got to realize budget too. If that dress was way over your budget.
Well, then that's where you like you said, prioritize. If the dress is really important to you, put that at the top of your list and cut out the favors or something. I don't know. That's just my...
Cut out the favors anyway.
That's just my suggestion. But also you got to think about your pictures. When you get your pictures back, you're not happy with your dress, so you're not going to be as happy with your pictures and your video as you would be if you were in the dress that you really loved.
Yeah. Same as if you don't get your hair and makeup done professionally.
Exactly. You just don't feel as
confident.
Pretty. Yeah, confident.
You're always gorgeous on your wedding day. The next one is don't drink too much.
Which we're always saying.
Yes. That goes for the whole party. Not just you.
You would hope.
Yeah. Yes. You drink responsibly. Let's put it that way.
Yes, drink responsibly. Have fun, but not too much fun.
Right.
Now, here are some things that I actually took from... we asked a question on one of our boards that we frequent, and these are some of the answers we got. So... the first one is, I wish I'd spent less time on way above my budget aspirational sites like The Knot and a lot of Pinterest, she says, and stuck with more realistic websites for my plannings and tips and ideas. Which, yeah, you can understand that. And we talked about what the difference is between a styled shoot and a real wedding before.
And plus the Pinterest episode, because,
Yes. Yeah, that was the same thing.
Yeah.
Same episode. Yeah, you see things and you think, oh, that's what I want, and it's easily attainable, but it's not.
Right.
That's where you need to do your research, where you need to talk to your vendors and say, how much would this cost me? And if it's too much, what can we do to kind of get that same look or style or color or whatever it is?
If you have good vendors, they will know what to do to make you have that same feel.
Exactly. That's, I guess she spent a lot of time really dreaming this out and didn't have the funds for it, really. So that's kind of sad.
The next one is, this is long. I wish I had known to cut off vendors if they made even one snide or unsupportive remark. I would. I don't know what vendor would say something malicious about a client. That's not good business, for one thing.
Right.
And I would definitely tell them. I would say, hey... You don't say that about me.
Right. I mean, that's just like common courtesy.
Right.
That's ridiculous. I can't imagine a really professional person saying snide remarks about like...
Right. That's their client. That's their most important person on that. You're a client and you're their most important person of that day.
Yeah. Don't put up with that. That right there should be a very huge... red light, don't hire this person.
Right.
If they're not going to treat you like you should be treated, then take it somewhere else.
Like this one was, they were talking to her in the consultation. Well, that right there should have said, no, sorry.
Yeah. We'll pass. That just... Okay, next one. Guest list. If we hadn't hung out in a year, I shouldn't have invited them, which is a good key,
right.
Unless there's somebody that you can't hang out with. They live across the ocean or they live across the United States from you and you speak to them often, but you don't hang out. That's a whole different can of worms. But some people didn't show up and she could have invited other people that she knew would have shown up, that she probably would have enjoyed them a little more even. So be careful and picky on your guest list is what she's saying.
Take your budget and keep to your budget. It makes it go smoothly.
It really does.
You're not going to say, oh, we can do this. We can, take something from this budget and put it onto this one or, something like that. I would keep to your budget.
Period.
Right.
Especially if you have no room to change it. Keep to it. Also, the day of, relax. Get a smoothie.
With protein.
Because food will be the last thing on your mind, like you're saying. So snacks, smoothies, something to sustain you for the whole day.
And plus, don't let others tell you what they want. It's your wedding, your details, your ideas.
You do it how you want to. Exactly. Here's the last one that we have for you. Sit down with your fiancé or whomever else might be contributing money and discuss what is most important. Again, make your priorities, plan your budgets, and make sure, this is from me, make sure that whomever is buying the wedding, who is paying for the wedding, who is giving money to the wedding, knows it's your wedding. Mm-hmm. And if their money comes with strings, conditions, make sure you're okay with that, or just cut those strings and make do elsewhere. Yeah. Again, your wedding. Your priorities, how you want it to be. So these are just some I think sage advices from couples that have already been through all this process, what they think and wish they had known and done before they got into all this planning stuff.
So heed their advice.
Yes, heed it. Take it. Learn from them. And email us at info@fromringtoveil.com or #FromRingToVeil on Twitter or Instagram.
Don't miss a show. Subscribe to From Ring to Veil anywhere you listen to podcasts, and please leave us a review.
Until next time, no stress, no worries. Keep calm and listen on.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us on Facebook, From Ring to Veil, on Twitter, @FromRingToVeil, and on our website, FromRingToVeil.com.
Music provided by bensound.com.